the next movie we have planned together, I'm not going to lie, it sounds kind of silly. Is going to be Jackass Forever, like the newest Jackass movie. Like, that's nostalgia as fuck.
Oh
And
yeah, no,
plus, I have
like that's
I
MTV
was
Prime. Like that is the
right, and
original MTV series that like made everyone like dumbasses as kids.
well, it also did that, but it also showed like, no, we shouldn't do this, like, and also I have a personal connection to one of the main cast of the Jackass crew, and that's Danger Aaron. um Back when I used to be up there with you, Caleb,
Mm-hmm.
um when I was working at a music venue, he was a regular photographer, and he very nice dude, very funny, but just because of the way I am, I never like gave him any leeway for anything just because of who he was. I was like, "Hey man, I love you. I love what you did. I love what you do. And
Mm-hmm.
I like what you do now, and that's doing photography, but you can't get by me or you can't get here unless you have what you need to get here."
Mm-hmm.
And he would always give me clout. I'm just like, "Bro, just go downstairs, get your damn wristband, come back up, and we Gucci. Like, we're good."
Mm-hmm.
And he would always get upset, and I'm just like, "Bro, how many times is it going to, like, every single time?" Like, and we've had this encounter like maybe 20, 25 times, and at the same point, I'm just like, "Bro, when are you going to learn?" I'm like, "I don't budge. You know me. I'm not going to let you through unless you
I
get it."
I almost feel like with the sheer amount of like head trauma Danger Aaron received, like I almost feel like he probably has like short term memory loss or something like that. There's no way he doesn't have some sort of severe damage to his brain.
True. True, but I think he has his own podcast, but I know he's been on Steve-O's podcast quite a bit since they started working together for this new movie. But what do you call it? But yeah, and there's stories that he has done that I have interacted with him that have been very quite entertaining and very like, holy shit, like, thank you, my dude.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like those moments of like, I appreciate him for who he is.
Gotcha.
So that's why we're excited to see the new movie. Although I understand why it's been postponed for like almost a year at this point.
I would get it too. Like no one wants to watch people like on a shopping cart being slungshot into the stratosphere. You know, while there's the possibility that the person sitting next to them will kill them unintentionally, mind
True,
you. Like
true, true,
like
true.
no one wants that. Like I get that. And
Mm-hmm.
um try to support your mom and pop movie theaters whenever you can, guys. Like just this is just whenever you can. I
Mm-hmm.
know that there's almost none left. So uh buy those snacks. Yes, they're expensive. You'll go to the movies for the exact reason of spending this money. You know what you're signing up for. It's the experience. You're never going to get that experience the same way again.
Yeah.
And there's only like so big you can go in your own home theater before it just becomes uneconomical.
Yeah.
Like
No, no, that makes sense.
like mind
Damn
you,
it.
I
Sorry.
want a full size home theater. Like at some point, I'm gonna make it big and like big and loud. Like cats don't dance. Um, you've seen that movie, right?
Yeah, because there was also a movie that it was paired up with. I can't remember the title because like whenever you had those old VHS movies, it had like Cats Don't Dance followed by or previous with
Mm-hmm.
a movie with two dragons. Like there was a skinny dragon and a really chunky dragon. I wanted to say it's like Dragon Quest, but it's not Dragon Quest. It's something. I
Are
gotta
they
look it.
are they like conjoined twins?
Yep.
Quest for Camelot.
Yeah, that's the one. Quest for
Dude.
Camelot.
Okay, so the prayer and I Stand Alone are two of the greatest songs to have ever come out inside of a movie because they're diegetic. So the in the scene from Quest for Camelot, the mother is singing the prayer, "I pray you'll be all right and watch us where you go and help us to be wise in times when we don't know."
That's where it came from.
It was in it. I don't know if it's the original song, but I know it's in it. So the prayer was that one. And then when she's in the swamp, she finds the blind guy, and he sings, like, every tree stands on its own, reaching for the sky, I stand alone. Yeah, right? So those two songs, despite the terrible pacing of the movie, like, the pacing is really bad. Like, if you go back and watch it right now, like, I love the movie to death, but I know for a fact that they needed some Disney up in there because there's, like, some serious pacing problems that that Disney solved a long time ago that they didn't understand yet. But yeah, brilliant movie. But in Cats Don't Dance, you know, the big number is basically Shirley Temple. Miss Dimple is what they call her, like Ella Dimple or something like that. She has that big musical number, which is literally called Big and Loud. You know, yeah. I'm not gonna say.
I was gonna say
like.
No, I was gonna say because we are gonna be ahead with the recordings. We could probably have a day where we watch both Cats Don't Dance and Quest for Cats.
Oh my gosh,
because I'm like trying to think. I'm trying to think of like what movies, what VHSs I had that had it. Something screams at me like some of the Land Before Time movies had it. And not Disney, because Disney, you know, Disney's like, we're Disney. We only show Disney movies.
Well, yeah. Well, on top of the fact that Disney movies were the only ones with a full-length runtime, so VHSs had about 120-ish minutes of actual record time that was available to you, because there was extra on the back end and on the front end for the federal non-copyright,
like,
blah blah blah.
Do not copyright that.
No,
do not pirate.
Do not pirate this, despite the fact that there's literally no piracy protection on them. It's just, oh, you may be fined $150,000 if you're found selling pirated copies of this VHS. Meanwhile, there's me with my dual, you know, VHS player. Like, just yeah, like basically,
like everyone's way of setting up to like record TV.
Yeah, no, which now we have to pay for. Like, it used to be free. I don't know. Like, I think we went backwards on that. No, I'm just kidding.
We'll get into the DVD section where it's like, you wouldn't steal a car.
Oh my gosh, those were the worst commercials.
Right.
It's like, I would totally download a car. Are you kidding me? And 3D printing is going to make it possible for me to download a car eventually. Like,
right. It's like, oh man. But like those like infomercial, like those intro commercials of like, do not steal this.
It had like that really campy like hacker rock beat in the background, and like it had like that, and then that loading bar that makes no sense, and
then there was like, it was like dark, dim, and like it, like the graphics were like comic book-esque with like shadows off the yin yang.
Yeah,
it's like, you wouldn't steal a car, you wouldn't, you know, you wouldn't steal from your parents.
Yeah, no, it's like downloading music off the internet is the same thing as stealing a CD. I'm like, no, it's not. It's not physical property changing hands.
Right. Thank you, Napster.
Thank you.
You have been long forgotten, but you will always be remembered.
Yep, always remembered. Always remembered, Napster.
Napster, followed by LimeWire, followed by FrostWire, and the Pirate Bay.
Yeah.
May you rest in peace.
May they all rest in peace. But if it weren't for them, think about all the artists that just wouldn't exist today.
That's true. Because like literally everything was all about like record sales or CD sales. Oh, at the time, CD sales.
Yeah.
Right?
No. So as soon as, because they couldn't project, part of the problem of creating something that can only be read by something is that anything else that uses that can read it and therefore copy it. So like they were essentially giving you the tools to steal from them just by making it exist.
Yeah. It was a wild west back then.
No,
in the early 2000s, right?
There was so many ways you could steal and then turn a profit on that theft. Like, because it was really easy for anyone with any amount of technical acumen, or anyone, like, you didn't even need to actually steal. What you could do is, like, I used to have a VHS to DVD burner. Like, what like, I would get, like, just for my time of doing the work of making sure it came out correctly, just moving VHSs over to DVDs, like in the early days of doing that, I think I was like 8 or 9 when that came out, 10, maybe 10. I was doing that for like family members and stuff, and they paid me $20 to move like 20 VHSs over to DVDs.
$1 a movie.
Yeah, $1 a movie. And I'm like, it takes me like an hour to do this. I'm making basically $1 an hour. That's better than minimum wage for kids, because technically speaking, for kids, I'm not allowed to work by law.
Right, and also at the same time too, it's like, oh, I only get a weekly allowance of maybe 20. Like if you came from that kind of house, like if you came from that kind of house, I didn't get $20.
I live in Hawaii. You kidding me? If I got a weekly allowance, it's because I was scraping it off the sidewalk, like
right, and for like child labor, right, like multiple hours and only getting like maybe $10.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, come on.
Yeah, no, like to the capitalist child that I was, turning every opportunity into a way that I could save a little bit of money here or make a little money there, so long as it wasn't part of my normal everyday duties. I was always on the lookout on because I wanted snacks. I love snacks so much.
Yeah. The value of money is very skewed until you become an adult.
Oh yeah. No, it's crazy. Now like if I were to go back to like 8-year-old me and talk about how much I spend just to live on a daily basis, 8-year-old me would be like, "You're filthy freaking rich."
Yup, exactly.
Well, it's like, how is that even possible? You're making that much money and you have nothing. Like, no, I have a lot of nice things. I worked very hard for all the nice things I have.
Right. Like this computer setup. Like me as like an 8-year-old to 10-year-old wouldn't fathom the amount of money that it took to
the amount of time,
computer.
effort, learning, like the amount of research it took for me to build my computer, to learn to do that.
Yep.
Like the amount of time, effort, and money it took for me to be able to afford to buy a phone outright, like, and be able to make payments. Like, child brain me, like back like way back when, didn't understand and couldn't even fathom the idea of the amount of work required just to put food on the table.
Right. Yeah, to us back then, we were happy with $5. Want to know why? $1.50 was for a drink. If it was $1, like, or 75 cents for a can of soda, depending, and then if you were lucky enough that you were close by to a fast food restaurant, you would get your McNuggies.
Yeah.
You would get
back when the dollar menu was $1, that was a $5 meal. A $5 meal made like 10-year-old Caleb fat. Like that's two double cheese. I mean, like $2 double cheeseburgers back in the day, because that was a thing. Like, the dollar menu used to be massive, guys. Like, I don't know if you understand.
Yeah, it used to be like 20 items. It used to be like 20 to 25 items.
Yeah, 25 in Hawaii. You could get pineapple on your burger, just as an added side. Like, it didn't even cost money. They would just put pineapple chunks on your burger, like in Hawaii. And I
was very envious that you guys had that option.
Oh yeah,
because I didn't know that was such a thing. I didn't know that was a thing. Also, like, hash browns were 2 for $1 at that point in time.
Oh yeah,
apple pies were also 2 for $1 at that time,
and they would go on sale.
Deep fried.
They could do. So what they would do is they donate. So if you gave them $1, they would donate 1 penny to, I think it was like St. Jude at the time. I don't know if it's still St. Jude, but you would pay 33 cents for an apple pie if you bought $1. So you'd get 3 apple pies for $1, and they would donate 1 penny to St. Jude, which was awesome, because you're giving to charity and you were stuffing your face with apple pie. It was the greatest thing ever.
Deep fried apple pie.
Yes.
Deep fried apple pie.
No, not this baked shit that they have now. Like, what is this?
I mean, it still tastes good, but it's not as great
as
nowhere
near as good. Or like, it's like completely devoid of everything bad about, and that's what makes it terrible.
With that said, what is your thought about like fast food restaurants changing their menu items to be quote unquote healthier?
I think it's a bunch of malarkey. Like, okay, so at absolutely no point in time, prior to the first lawsuit against them by the morbidly obese individual that had no self-control, individuals, mind you, multiple individuals who have no self-control, and no forethought, and have been told their entire lives that McDonald's and other fast foods were bad for you, and somehow won the case.
It was a class action. Like, it's crazy what happens
It's
with
insane.
class actions.
It's absolutely
'Cause it's the
insane.
same-
Like, if you
It's the same thing with that lady at McDonald's. It was the same thing at that lady at McDonald's
that
who burned herself with a coffee.
with the scalding hot coffee. I'm like,
It's coffee.
lady, I understand that you got hurt. I understand that it hurt your lady bits because it fell in your lap. That is very unfortunate. You're not entitled to multiple millions of dollars because you didn't understand that hot water is used to make coffee.
Right. And it's crazy. She won the lawsuit, and now not just McDonald's,
No,
but
all
every single
all cups, all cup lids.
It changed
Yeah.
everything.
No,
it changed everything.
Yeah, it's insane the amount of just legal baloney that has changed, and yet still somehow these big name places not only still exist but are thriving.
Yeah.
At no point were they supposed to have a salad at McDonald's.
No. And even then, the salad currently still has a shit ton of sugar.
So
it's it's
yeah.
not even healthy.
No,
It's not even healthy. It's not even a healthy salad.
Yeah, no, it's not even healthy. On top of the fact that Newman's Own, which is the dressing that they use, is probably one of the sugariest salad dressings out there. Even like, don't get me wrong, I love me some Newman's Own. I love their ranch and I like their Caesar. Like, don't get me wrong, I have nothing against them personally. I have a negative against both McDonald's and any other fast food restaurant that says that this is a quote-unquote healthy option, despite the fact that a person who can look at them and like actively look and read would be able to tell you otherwise. Like,
yeah. Well, that's also the thing too, right? The thing is that they say it is a quote-unquote healthier option.
yes, and that's
like,
where they get out of the legal jargon. Like, you start talking about, okay, I mean, technically speaking, eating lead is healthier than shooting yourself in the head with a bullet, but it's still not. You're still gonna die.
Good for you.
Like,
Yeah.
you're still gonna die because of it. It's just,
Yeah.
at what severity or at what rate will you die from, eating lead versus, like, expelling it into your brain cavity. Like,
Right.
there's a difference. But my thing is, I've always known that McDonald's is bad for me.
Right.
I reveled in the fact that McDonald's is bad for me. It was a part of a very, very negative mindset I had as a child, or young teen, like self, regret and stuff, because I didn't understand that the hormones were messing with my head and I needed to have a physical outlet, but I chose not to do any sort of activity because it required effort. Yeah. So part of that was a very negative mental state, and that led to food that made me feel bad because I thought I deserved it. Like, it's a very, very vicious cycle, and it's disgusting and it's
vicious
sad.
cycle.
And like, now that I'm older, I can look at that and I can see it and I can think about it. I can be like, okay, if I see another kid like me, I can tell them about this now, and I can tell them that, hey, you're hurting yourself by eating this type of stuff. You're hurting yourself, like, and I understand that it feels good for right now because sometimes pain is better than nothing. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
the song Pain by 3 Days Grace is a perfect example. Like, this world will never be what I expected, and if I don't belong, who would have guessed it? Like, I'd rather feel pain than nothing at all. Like, I have to give it to
Right.
3 Days Grace. They are freaking amazing. I love 3 Days Grace. But,
Right. But that's also the same thing that comes with pain, right? Well, I know this is a little side anecdote, but I've wholeheartedly said to understand is like the reason why we end up being masochistic, both mentally or physically, is because pain lets us know that we're alive.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
No,
It allows us to feel something when, you feel like there's nothing you could feel. But, like, regardless, like, it's still not a healthy mindset, right? But at the same time, too, that's where the logic comes from. And you might not even understand or recognize that that's the logic. It's because we feel pain and if we like feeling pain, which is where the masochism comes through,
Mm-hmm.
is because we want to feel alive. And those that are, suffering through mental health or suffering through any sort of physicalness,
Mm-hmm.
that's a lot of the reason why you dig yourself into that hole and feels like you can't get out of it.
Yeah. As a person who's lived with an individual that had an addiction to painkillers, I understand that part of life is also trying to escape pain. Like, so I've experienced and lived and seen both sides of that particular spectrum of trying to exist while trying to slip away. It's really like terrible, and this all came from my love of food, which is really weird if you think about it. Why do we love the things that hurt us most? It's because they are the things that make us feel the most.
Yep. Yep. And it's definitely like it's hard to have a healthy relationship with food sometimes too.
Oh yeah. Are you kidding me?
Right.
Like
Like
when there are people who can create things that are double deep fried and, stuffed within stuffed within stuffed. Like there's no healthy way to have a relationship with that particular type of food. All you do is you have as little of it as you can possibly stand to have,
or
yeah.
or you could be like me, like during the holidays, because I knew I was going to stuff my face and I did not care that I was going to stuff my face. Oh, I prepped for that. I lost weight to prepare for having the weight gain for eating all this bad food.
Yeah.
So
No, like
yeah, so that's what I mean by having a healthy relationship with food, right? It's like I love food. There's no doubts about that.
yeah,
And
there's no
despite-
getting around it. We love food.
no, right. And despite me like trying to be as fit as I can, be as active as I can, that's still not going to stop me from eating what I want to eat.
Yeah.
It's just having that healthy relationship mentally with food that's like, okay, you know what? I haven't had a freaking Big Mac in like 4 months. It's not going to kill me to have it,
Yeah.
right?
Well,
Compared
there's-
to like
whereas I'm physically chemically addicted to the stuff inside of the Big Mac sauce because there are chemicals in there that do actually have addictive processes. On top of the fact that actually it's been proven that if you eat enough McDonald's, you actually have withdrawal symptoms if you stop eating McDonald's. It's really weird. And it's not just McDonald's, mind you. Like this has been proven with all the big chains. It's just everyone knows Mickey D's. Like,
yeah, Mickey D's is basically the top tier king of fast
well, I
food.
mean, they're like
know.
the second or third largest real estate companies in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
McDonald's is
they have
McDonald's is basically a monopoly.
basically like they're places where beef isn't even legal, and they sell hamburgers.
And they still have it. Yep. Yep. So going back to, because we went off tangent, but it all connected.
Yeah.
Going back to it, how do you feel about the health? Like, do you think that these fast food chains should change their menu? For me, I say no. Like,
You mean change it
I
back
get-
to the way it used to be?
No. Change it in a way where it's like I was telling you, like what we were talking about, like the more healthier options. Like, I think that most of these fast food chains should just hunker down and own up to what they are.
Yeah,
Right.
no.
Like, when you go to people who go to McDonald's know McDonald's isn't good for
Yeah,
you.
no, I
So-
want my junk food restaurants to continue to be junk food. Like,
Yeah.
like
right.
it's actually a cost saving measure, some of the things that they did. Back in the day, a McDonald's patty used to have somewhere in the neighborhood of like 28 to like 32% fat in the patty. Now it's like lean, like 85% lean or something like that. So it's only like 15% fat and whatnot. And that was due to a particular push against anti-fat in food for some reason, because people don't understand that fat is what makes you feel full. Fat and protein are what make you feel full. Like,
Right.
because satiety receptors are a thing. But that's neither here nor there. Back in the day, you could have a regular burger from McDonald's and you would feel full for the entire duration until your next meal, and then you would have your next meal, whatever that may be, because it had
Right.
all the macronutrients you needed. Plus, it had a pickle because pickles are great. But it's a completely different paradigm when you're talking about these hyper processed patties, which are like less than 20% real beef. Like if you actually like break it down into all the additives they add into their beef patties that somehow make them more healthy. Like I don't
Right.
I in their steps to make their fast food quote unquote healthier and therefore more cost effective, they've actually created these weird, like McDonald's has their own brand of corn.
Yep.
What corn item does McDonald's actually sell though? Why do they have their own brand of corn if they don't sell
also,
corn items?
isn't it for basically additives and corn syrup?
Corn syrup and fillers.
Yep.
Yeah. So corn syrup and fillers. So it never used to be that way.
No.
This is a very new-ish development. I say new-ish because it happened, before I was born, but like I don't consider myself as old as I actually am. Like every day I advance further forward on the never-ending scale of my life. Because I won't know when it's done. Everyone else will, I won't. It's so many different things have changed since McDonald's started as just your regular old burger joint, just regular old drive-in, dine-in burger joint. But with each new thing, each new restriction they added a cost, which led to further unhealthy items. The reason why they could make McDonald's fries supersized is because they started cutting the potatoes with what? Other things. They're not just whole cut potatoes with potato skin on them anymore. No, they're filled. They're fluffed. They're filled. They're deep fried in what used to be just regular peanut oil or bacon grease.
No. It wasn't.
You're right.
No.
It was bacon grease originally.
No, it wasn't bacon grease. It was it was beef. It was like something beef fat. Like it was straight up beef fat.
Oh, okay. Well, I could have swore it was something else, but yeah, no, a whole like that's even better for you, mind you. Like honestly, yeah.
But the reason why it changed was due to the whole vegetarian veganism, that there was a lot of cloud, and it was just like, well, these fries are technically not vegetarian.
No.
Because
they were fried in
let me see what
beef fat.
Beef.
Yeah, no, that's even better. Like that's even more awesome in my opinion. But like,
I'm trying to.
I don't know how else to say it in like a positive light. But like,
it was beef tallow. So yeah, basically
beef fat. Yeah. So
7% vegetable oil and 93% beef tallow.
That's amazing. That is so.
And that's
great.
why they tasted so good. Like that's the reason why people love the McDonald's fries was because of that. And I remember wholeheartedly those original fry tastes. Like the McDonald's fries you get now, very similar, very very similar, but it also has additives, especially with their salt, that allow you to want and crave more.
Yeah. Well, I mean, potassium chloride is actually a very seriously addictive substance.
Yeah.
Like it's like regular salt, table salt, sodium chloride, potassium chloride as another salt, but it actually has the same tendency, very similar tendencies to like other crystalline white structures. Sugar. Yeah.
More sugar.
More sugar. In water.
More sugar. Water. Please,
Edgar.
Please note the reference.
Yes. I mean,
when you get a chance.
You humans always think you're so smart.
Oh, it's such a good movie.
Gosh.
I don't know how it ended up the way it ended, but yeah, no.
I mean, okay. once again, yet another movie that didn't understand time travel.
That one I 100% agree on. But I will say the third installment of Men in Black. By the way, the movie is Men in Black.
Mm-hmm.
There were some aspects of it that I enjoyed, but was very unneeded.
The entire movie,
And I also just
like, I love.
it was very unnecessary.
I just love the fact that Andy Warhol was a freaking was an MIB agent, and like
And it was fucking what's his face from Barry and SNL. Oh God,
I don't know his name, but all I know is like that it makes the most sense. It's just a guy who's trying to like hide the fact that aliens exist.
right.
Like
It is Bill Hader. There you go.
there you go.
Bill Hader.
Yeah, no, like
Um,
that was brilliant. There's some things in Men in Black that were the Men in Black 3 specifically that were just brilliant. I liked Men in Black 2. I really did. Like
You did. You really
yeah,
did.
no, like I honestly did because I thought it like all things being considered, Johnny Knoxville with a second Johnny Knoxville head that like comes out and stuff. Plus, it came out when I was like 12, 13, and I thought like the lady with like the things was hot because she like I don't know, I thought she was hot. Anyway, so I liked the movie.
What do you call it? Yeah, as far as the Men in Black movies go, like the second one, I think the thing that I liked the most about it, like I disliked the story about trying to get Kay back to being a MIB agent.
Yeah, no.
So basically, which is really funny, right? It's like his entire existence being an MIB agent is to not be remembering stuff. So literally by neutralizing him, he goes back to his old life. So, and then they try to deneutralize him, which makes him come back. So it's just weird and funky.
Well,
there are some-
the whole process of wiping someone's short-term memory and then implanting ideas, like that whole thing is like so insane because it can be done and it's been proven to be possible. Like, and people do it to themselves all the time and they don't even know it. Like,
Yeah.
which is insane. But like, people who've been studying hypnotherapy for a long time, people who've been studying just the human brain, they all know that given the right amount of stimuli, you can overload the brain and basically tell it to believe that a color is not a color and a texture is not a texture, and the brain will rewrite itself right then and there to make what was said to your brain be the truth wholeheartedly, without a doubt, in your mind. And that is why you can never trust eyewitness accounts of UFOs.
Very much so. No, it's crazy, right? And the fact that when it comes to the UFOs and when it comes to Men in Black 2, like, I don't know, just the exploration of different aliens was actually really, really nice. Are you checking your phone?
Yeah.
You checking to see what I sent you?
Yeah, what did you send me? I'm excited to see it.
I'm showing you one of the animated wallpapers.
Oh
that I
my
have
gosh,
on the
that's
computer.
amazing.
Yeah.
Darth Cadence.
I thought you'd appreciate it. But also, like, one of the big things that I really liked about Men in Black 3 that was very weird and why they did it was to have Josh Brolin play young Tommy Lee Jones. I think that's right? It was him? Yeah.
I think so.
Regardless of who the actor was that played young Tommy Lee Jones, Agent K, did excellent. I really enjoyed it because he definitely got the essence of the character K, Agent K. So that's something that I appreciate when it comes to the lore of the movie. A lot of things in the movie was kind of interesting, not the route that I would have thoroughly enjoyed, but still, like, it was a good movie for what it was.
Well,
not the greatest.
It's really interesting that they decided to create a movie that was simultaneously its own sequel and prequel.
Yeah, that was the thing. That was a concept that I was just like, okay.
Yeah, no, it set itself up to be its beginning and its end.
Yeah.
So it's really, as a concept, it did cover a lot of really interesting things, including multidimensional beings. Like,
Mm.
what other movie at the time was even remotely talking about that? I think Watchmen was pretty close. Like, but Watchmen came out before that.
Way before the third
Way
one.
before
Came
the
out way
third
before the
one.
third one.
Like, um, people who exist in multiple realities at the same time really doesn't get touched upon because it's really hard to even represent.
Right, and that's why we're entering it now with the MCU.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, like multiple different versions of things. Like it took an extra. Gosh, the last one came out in like, was that 2014, 2013?
Which one?
When did Men in Black 3 come out?
I want to say I'm usually pretty good with movies. I'm usually off by like a year or two. I want to say it was 2012. Let's see. MIB, not international. MIB 3. Oh, I was right. I'm on the dot. 2012 was Men in Black 3.
Okay, yeah. So it took.
10 years ago.
That was 10 years ago. I'm 2 years away from my high school reunion. From my 10-year reunion.
Oh yeah. My 10-year reunion was canceled pretty much due to COVID.
That sounds
I graduated.
about right.
I graduated 2010, so 2020.
Yeah,
Not so
yeah,
much.
not so much. I mean, I wonder if they're
I
gonna
don't
do
know.
like a collab, like just get like the 4 years that were there at the same time. Like, would that be like 4 years on either side? So would you have like 8 classes worth of people all showing up at the same like ballroom?
Well, our school, my high school didn't have a ballroom, but it had a gym. But it has like a special room, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I mean, and there's a auditorium, so possibly. But I mean, my school was small. My graduating class was I think 196.
Oh yeah, no,
So
like Kaiser High School, where I graduated, our class was like 3 something.
yeah.
300 something
Um,
students, and most I want to say like maybe half of us just barely did it. um they kind of pushed a lot of kids out. I'm not gonna lie, there were a couple of kids that definitely should not have graduated, probably myself included, but
oh jeez.
yeah. uh
Oh jeez.
yeah, no,
Oh
I was
boy.
given a lot of opportunities because my teachers knew that I knew the subjects, because my test scores said I knew everything, but my homework said I did nothing.
Oh, you were one of those. You know what? You know what I was in high school.
What?
I was one of those students that did the work, but never like I was never a teacher's pet.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you call it? So like I was the one that always did his stuff and never caused any problems. You know, I wasn't a teacher's pet. I wasn't a class clown.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't just there. Like I was a smart kid, but
Mhm.
I just didn't. School was not my priority. School was my escape. So that's the reason why I did all my work and did all of that. Um, and I think at the same time too, I was like by my senior year, I was part of like 25 clubs or 25 organizations.
Oh shit.
Whether they were clubs like theater, choir. I was also a sports manager, team manager. I did
I would honestly be
student athletic
surprised
training.
if more than 10 people out of my high school even remember me.
Felt that.
Yeah, like or like would even have an errant thought about me.
Okay.
Like just by the sheer tight knitness of the group I was a part of, like
Mhm.
I wasn't very outgoing. I was very opinionated, and I still am.
Mhm.
That didn't change. I was far more crass with my opinions, if
Okay.
that's even a possibility.
and
And I was far more
I could see that.
confrontational in my statements. Like I've actually
Mhm.
chilled out a lot since high school. Um,
And I believe that. I believe that for sure. Yeah, because even on my end, I realized some of the things that I did in high school is what got me to not what got me to where I am now, but got me to be capable of doing the things that I'm able to do now.
oh,
And one of that was because in high school, I was basically a chameleon. I was able to I say chameleon, but it was more or less like I was able to blend in with everybody. Like
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed sports. I enjoyed nerd stuff. Like for those who were like super intelligent in my class, like the way I describe them are elitist nerds, where it's like we're too smart and like either they didn't do the work, but they showed up to class and got A's and whatnot, or they found homework really easy and just found school too easy for them. Um, I was able to get along with them as well. I did theater, I did choir, I was around sports, was around yearbook. So, and I was also an honor student. So I was able to blend in with almost everybody and anybody just because of the interests and stuff that I was able to do. Fast forward to now, I didn't realize that I had the ability to have such great networking skills,
Mm-hmm.
right? Being able to work in music and being able to converse with anybody about everything that doesn't even have to pertain to someone's work. I didn't realize that's a skill set.
Oh yeah, because
You
there
know?
are people who never dabble in anything other
No.
than their own thing. I have unnecessary amounts of knowledge on topics that I will never pursue. But
Right.
like,
we've shared some of
yes,
those.
we've shared some of those, but like I feel like I'm a better, more well-rounded person for having them.
Hmm.
Like,
Yeah, because it allows you to relate to at least have a conversation with somebody about something, right?
mm-hmm,
That's why when it comes to me, like when it comes to pop culture, yeah, I'm your guy,
mm-hmm,
right? Literally shows, TV, music, name it, whatever. I got you.
mm-hmm.
I'm sure we'll find something that we could literally bond with. Like for you and me, we bonded with basically anime, Star Wars, and was it video games? No, comics.
It was comics, video games. It was surface level nerd culture that ended up being far deeper than anything
Oh
we
yeah.
thought originally.
Right. Well, that's right, and that's also because we had deep opinions of the things that we knew.
Mm-hmm.
Right. We like even if it's things that we don't choose to really pursue, it's a lot of depth enough that it's like if you ended up like or if someone we come across ended up being like a set designer for like a TV show and we could know the intricacies of some parts of set design or even the show itself and then just talk about that and segue and tangent off like what we are literally doing in
Yeah.
this goddamn podcast.
Yeah,
Right?
very, very easily. The amount of like I said, endless amounts of conversational knowledge.
Right.
It's just more people end up liking you.
And that's because I try not to put I try not to be as harsh with certain criticisms like somebody we know.
Ah, yes,
Um,
yes. Harsh criticisms.
because
Who's that person?
because someone has difficulty reading a room. So
It's kind of hard to read a
but-
room when all you have is non-vocal cues.
that's true. But here at the same time too, it's like, all right. But that's what also made us get along really well, right? When
Mhm.
we were in person hanging out, was that I was able to, not be like, hey, because like I'm sure you've come across points in your life where people are like, Caleb, shut up. It's just like stop or like just enough. I mean, for me, it's just shut up, just stop talking. you know, but it's just like I have that ability to segue it to something into a more positive light or being able to adjust the flow of the conversation to something that doesn't get into some sort of argument where it's like, all right, I'll let this play out. I'll let this play out of these two people's opinions, or I'll let it play out between my opinion. And if I should back off, then yeah. And that's just due to the vocal and cues of being able to read another person.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is also another skill that should be learned is body language or like even vocal language, just being able to recognize regardless if it's positive or negative.
Mm-hmm.
Because like when you get hype about something, the person you're talking to gets hype with you as well,
Oh.
and you bring the energy.
And
Right.
your body language influences their body language back. If you nod at a person,
Exactly.
eventually they'll start nodding with you, even if they don't agree with you. It's
yeah, or they'll.
it is.
It's like monkey see, monkey do
yeah,
to a degree.
it is.
To a degree.
It is so crazy, like the sheer level of information you can get from a person's willingness to join you in the activity of of conversation. Just their willingness to actually talk to you. Speaks volumes about the individual. Like,
but it also allows you to, it also shows like if you're a leader or a sheep. Unfortunately, a lot of people are sheep, right? They don't, and that's a hardship. That's a hardship for a lot of people. Even if, you know, it's like some people might get offended by even saying that a sheep. I know I'm not, to a degree. Like if there's some things that I'm not aware of, as soon as I start to get knowledge about it, whole dynamic changes, right? And that's the reason why I love to learn and I love to know things, and that's why I always ask questions, because if I don't know something, I don't hesitate to ask.
yeah.
And
90% of my time on the internet is trying to learn more things. Just more.
are they healthy things? No. Like to me, I could probably deep dive for like 6 hours into Marvel like universes and their own storylines.
I spent probably a full week learning Mirror's Edge strats. I don't even play the game.
I have done something very similar. Yeah.
Yeah, like I know, like, there's a kick glitch that allows you to run along a wall basically infinitely and several times faster than the normal free running mechanic. I know, like, there's like all these different things. You can load into a level ahead of the level if you flip up onto like the top of an elevator, and like, yeah, no, I know these speed running strategies for no reason, because I will never play this game.
Right. It's the same thing with like me watching speedruns of almost any video game. I'm fascinated by the fact that people speedrun the games. Like some of my favorite games to watch speedrunning is Halo. The first two Halo games. Well, I think it's the first one for the most part. But like seeing the strats, am I ever going to really do that if I play the game?
No.
But it's kind of cool to see it in action.
Like,
and the other one that, you know, that I pay attention to is Super Mario World, like the one for the Super SNES, this Super NES. Those I do try, but I'm not gonna like practice countless hours every day for like 3 months to become the next speedrun champion. No, but it's absolute dull knowledge that you don't really need to know.
It's ridiculously entertaining, on top of the fact that sometimes you just want to get a Mew in Pokemon Blue. Like, why wouldn't you want to get a level 100 Mew before defeating, you know, Misty?
Right. With that said, coming to Pokemon, the new game, Pokemon Legends Arceus, you haven't touched it yet.
No.
You do plan on playing it, right?
Technically speaking, I touched it first, but I haven't played it. There's a difference.
Okay.
I like physically had my hands on the game first, but then my significant other, I enjoy watching play video games so much that, you know, I want to watch her play it first. So,
speaking of which, I thought someone was supposed to come here with a beanbag and hang out, but apparently that changed.
Well, it changed because she knew for a fact that she couldn't keep quiet.
Oh, no worries. We'll welcome her back in very soon because we are going to eventually have to wrap this up.
Yes, indeed. Well, I mean, probably sooner than later. I need to be up in, what is that, 5.5 hours, give or take?
Yeah. But yeah, once you finally do get your hands on it, I do want to know your opinion, because I've been playing it on and off. I'm still not past like the quote unquote tutorial levels, but I've already seen more than I need to know how to play the game. But yeah, once we get to that point, we'll probably discuss and see where you're at when it comes to it. Definitely. Yeah, no, this was fun. This was a fun time.
Yeah, no, and, this is gonna be like maybe 2 or 3 episodes, depending on how I slice it.
I'm pretty sure it's gonna be.
It looks like 3. It's probably gonna have to be 3.
And I'm not against it. That gives us room. That gives us room to have our Quest for Camelot and Cats Don't Dance and maybe Dragon Ball Evolution to be recorded. We'll record.
Yeah, we're definitely recording the teardown of Dragon Ball Evolution. I've been like, there's been years of rage at this movie just built up inside of me that is going to like but it's not even like vitriolic rage. It's just like, why you do
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, and also at the same time too, like I never watched it in theaters because I was going to with friends, but then someone watched it midnight premiere,
Hmm.
and they're like, don't even try,
Don't do it, bro.
don't even,
Don't do it, bro.
don't do it. And we listened. I think I ended up watching it when I was in college, but I think I was under some sort of inebriation to really like bash it or really understand it. So yeah, it's gonna be a good time. So look out for that when we finally post it.
Yep, that's gonna be great. Well, thank y'all for coming to listen. This has been 99.99% nonsense. We love you. Have a good night.
Peace out.